Boomer moment. Episode 180. You only have myself. Sorry, folks. If anyone wants to jump in, I posted the link there. Jump in. We can just talk. You don't have to use a webcam. You can just put a logo up. I can add you. There's a guide to what you need to do to join. But yeah, Selby unfortunately couldn't make it. He had some issues with trying to get it set up and that, and it's a bit of a funny program, the one we use, but it has been lifting the quality of what we do. So yeah, unfortunately, everyone, you are stuck with just me this week. Cobra got tied up with work, Archie's got homework, and Lemons just can't make it either. So yeah, gonna look at options for the future to get someone else as a backup or as a another co-host or whatever. So watch your space. We'll see what we can do there. But first up, I did want to do a quick update on my girl Funk Pedal's GoFundMe. It's sitting at over $7,200 now, folks. So that's absolutely insane. Yeah, I do. I do have the hardest time with guests at times, but hey, it's the nature of a show like this. It's just it happens. It happens from time to time, and at the end of the day, we don't do this to make money. We do this just as a service for the community. So it's not like Archie or Cobra or Lemons are losing money. They've got real lives to focus on. So that's what they're, if they can't make it, they can't make it. They do this out of the goodness of their heart. And I'm forever grateful for everyone who's ever been a co-host on this show with me. So, or even the host when Lad was doing it as well back in the day. And yep, exactly, mate. You play the hand you dealt. No sense whining. I see so many people whine and bitch about shit on Twitter. Just suck it up and get on with it. Life can be a bitch. So what? Okay, so yeah, back to Funk Pedal. Good friend of mine. She's a admin at the DayZ Down Under community, very well known in the Australian region. So if you can, please consider going and visiting that. I'll see if I can post the link in chat. Give me 1 second. Should have had this prepared. Where is it? Looking for the link. I think I just found it. Yep. Here we go. And I'll bring it up just so we can all have a look at it. 1 second. I'm just arranging things. There we go. Yeah, screen. Voila. So it's just. Hey.
Yo, hello. How you doing? Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear, my man. How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, not too bad. A bit nervous about coming on, to be fair, because I've never done anything like this before. Do you know what I mean? I just normally turn my Xbox on and play a bit of DayZ.
Mate, honestly, it's just a discussion like you would with the lads in Discord, except it's streamed. So just you've already started off bloody fantastic. You've got a great quality mic, by the way, mate.
But I'm only working off my Samsung Galaxy S9 and all, to be fair. So,
mate, you don't need to go and get a $500 microphone or anything like that. Just most of the fairly cheap ones. There's a good channel on YouTube, the Frugal Streamer. I highly recommend him if you're looking for cheap but decent stuff, because that's what he pretty much does. Is lets people know whether it's good value for money or not. He's not just doing it because he's being paid to in a lot of cases. So yeah, but yeah, back to Funk Pedal. Had a bit of a shit hand dealt to her, like we said before, but she's just getting on with it. But yeah, she's doing a GoFundMe just to help cover living costs while she's going to be, getting chemo and undergoing surgery and all that sort of stuff that comes along with these sorts of issues. So I'm going to actually jump to something early. I was going to save this for the end of the show, But I wanted to give a big shout out to Fubar Bundy. Now, I've mentioned him a lot before, MrWhite. He's one of my favorite DayZ content creators. He's just got a great sense of humor. He doesn't mind doing PvP. He doesn't mind doing base building. He does it all. But he also jumped on the bandwagon and shared this. And during one of his streams, when he was promoting it a week ago, someone donated $3,391.
Wow.
One of the things I love about this community, my man, just that's insane that someone would donate that much money. And they did it anonymously. So whoever Anonymous is, you're an absolute legend, as well as all the other people who donated what they could spare. You know, $300 there, $10 there, 25, 100, 250. You know, it doesn't need to be biggest mob money. Just even whatever you can spare will go a long way towards helping someone. So if you need some good karma in your life, either go play Karma Crew or make a donation. Okay. So you're a console player, MrWhite?
Yeah, console player, mate. Yeah, I'm on the Series X now. I've been on it just a little bit after beta is when I got started playing DayZ.
Yep.
Yeah, can't stop playing it. To be fair, don't matter how much I've tried to go off it, and it's caused problems in my relationship and so on and so forth. Like I spend too much time in it. I do. But yeah, I can't stop playing it, and that's why sometimes when obviously you've seen him in the Discord and I've messaged and stuff like that, I'm passionate about the game because the game has got so much potential. It has, and from where it was on console to where we're at now, it's a totally different game. It is.
It had a rocky start on console with the old gen consoles before the new gen ones came out, didn't it?
Yeah. I think I seen something on YouTube actually. I think yesterday. I think when it hit its all-time low, I think there was 1,600 people playing it on it at the time, around that mark. And then was it doing all introduced a new engine, and that's when it started to pick things back up again.
Yeah, it got really low, mate, on PC. But even when it was released on console, it was just the old gen consoles really struggled with being able to handle a game like DayZ on console, didn't they?
Yeah, I can see why. To be fair, because I've got an old generational console as well, and sometimes I had to send my Xbox Series X back to Germany because it wouldn't play discs. It wouldn't, so it had to be sent back to repaired. So I was left no choice but to play the old gen for DayZ, to carry on playing it, and it amazes me that people still play it on the old generational consoles. And being honest, it does, just because.
Have you given any thoughts to going to PC, mate?
I haven't. Now my son keeps plaguing me wanting a PC. He wanted an Xbox. He's got an Xbox now, but he wants PC. He watches. He's a Fortnite. That's all he wants to play is Fortnite. It's fast paced for him. I've tried him on DayZ. It's too slow, Dad. It's just too slow for me. But I've looked into it. It's just I don't want to commit that type of money for something what I'm already realistically shouldn't be playing as much as I'm already playing on my Xbox. So I couldn't justify spending what 1,000 to a couple of thousand on a PC to what I can already do on my Xbox. To be fair, and not only that, if I did that, all my friends are on my Xbox, so it'd be a case of I had to step away from my Xbox community or I play with. So
that's not an argument, but a reason I've seen from a lot of people. It's like as much as they look at PC and go, "Oh, look at all the stuff they can do." If you're playing with your friends and they're good friends, it's kind of shitty to abandon them and go play the master race. But yeah, I feel for you, mate.
It's just one of them, really. But I mainly some days I'd just turn my Xbox on mostly just to talk to my friends. I do, to be fair.
And we've got MetalHed joining us. How you doing, buddy?
Doing good. If my mic starts acting up, I'll just hop back out.
No, it's actually sounding pretty damn clear at the moment, mate.
Well, it seems like on DayZ half the people complain about it, but Discord works all right.
People complain about something? No,
never.
Say it isn't true.
That's life. Oh. So
What-
no, I
what-
just figured I'd jump in since you offered the invitation rather than the
Yeah.
last time I ended up bumping in.
That was funny that day. That was so funny. For those who don't know, we were streaming, doing a show. I think there was me, Lad, might have been Marks as well, and someone joined the channel, and then kind of shit themselves and bailed out and sent just messages. I'm sorry. Like, no, man, it's cool. Yeah, doesn't matter. But yeah, what do we got here? Offset syntax, DayZ and old gen. It wasn't the worst gaming experience I've ever had in a console game. Definitely much better on current gen though. So yeah, it was. We've seen that with a few games of late. I think even Cyberpunk had that same issue, didn't it, MrWhite, where they developed it on the old gen technology, but it was terrible.
Yeah, it seems to be that with a lot of games though. When DayZ really grinds me down, and I really don't want to play it no more because it's just not. I'm not feeling it. I've played a bit of Rust, and Rust has got the same problem really on console. Do you know what I mean? It's you're trying to accumulate for an old generational console, new generational console, PC, and it needs to, in my opinion anyway. Do you know what I mean? I think especially for DayZ, Rust, it needs to step to a new gen. It's what's 10 years now since Xbox One generational come out. So I think it's just time to step away. It needs to be a new generational game. I reckon it could have a lot more potential then. It could be done a lot better. People will buy a new console. They would if they still wanted to play the game anyway. They would, in my opinion.
Have you ever played it on console, MetalHed?
I tried one time. I couldn't really figure out the inventory layout. I'm too used to playing Tetris with all my gear.
Yeah.
It seems to work, and I'm impressed with how well it works considering the key mapping on like PC, but it's not for me.
No, I can understand why people wouldn't go back to console, and I can understand why console want to come to PC. But Scale Speed has said it many a time. I think it's an absolute wonder that they got the game to work as well as it does on console. And it's been so long since I played console games that I know I would be absolutely terrible at it because, I do watch some of the Xbox and PlayStation streamers, and it amazes me that they're able to play as well as they do with just a controller. But I've heard driving is so much better with a controller, MrWhite.
Yeah, I don't mind driving. I'd quite happily drive on next gen. I wouldn't do it on old generational console. I really wouldn't. The only one issue you do have on console, especially when you're driving, is that's if you come into base lag, we call it. So if you come into
We've got that.
a big base,
We've got that on PC, mate.
You could be driving 1 minute straight in the road, and then you're 200 feet in the field, and you're uncom because you've hit a tree.
I
wrapped
literally
around
just
a tree
spent
or a fence.
$350 on a router in order to try to alleviate some of those issues, and it's gotten me almost nowhere.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything you can do, mate. It comes down to the server and the specs of the server, and then the bases. It's ultimately down to the bases.
We always build bases, so that's something we run into all the time, and I'm always nominated the driver. So when I get DC'd and kicked, it's always crazy for them. So I tried to do what I could on my end of things, but like you said, there's just not a whole lot you can do, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, driving. I mean, I haven't had my DayZ console itself crash, because that used to be a big problem when driving. Your game would crash, and then the car would accelerate, and there's nothing anyone could do about it apart from you hold on and hope for the best. Get every word. I just wish that if it could be implemented, if it finds out you've been disconnected, it could just shut your car to a stationary, so at least then it'd save killing your friends.
Yeah, I wish they could do something better when you actually get kicked, because he'll have to wait out the timer for my body to even leave the driver's seat before he can switch over and take control, and it's too late a lot of the times. I've come to the point where I'll literally slam on the brake and turn the engine off, because if I don't, it just speeds away.
Yeah.
Sorry, fellas, I'm just messaging Connor, one of the crew. He's been doing up a banner for me in the background. But yeah, I don't even know if there is anything they can do. Like Helkiana, I saw her name in the chat there before. She'd probably have a better understanding of that tech side of it. But I really don't think they can. It's ultimately just down to the community. For when it's a community server, official, there's really nothing you can do because no one monitors them. But the communities have just got to, basically have either strict rules about, just how much you can have in a base, and then it kind of becomes a bit. Oh, pardon me, didn't get much sleep last night. Becomes a bit annoying for the people, or look at the mods they're using. There are some mods that aren't as intensive on the server, and try to minimize the amount of McMansions that you have spread all over the map.
Is that as prolific on a community server as it is official? Because 99% of what I play is official, and I find I don't have a good comparison between what a community server can achieve with their own hardware and their own connection and what the official servers are limited to, probably being in a bit of a farm on a shared connection. If I had to guess, I don't know things though.
Community is something I can't really comment because it's not something I play on on Xbox. It's only ever official I really play, so I couldn't even comment on that either, to be fair, mate.
That's something I'd be interested in knowing more from like a community server player, how good and how poor those can be.
I know when I first started playing DayZ, I started playing on the community server, which one I didn't even know. I just played DayZ. I just see it as DayZ. I didn't know there was such thing as community servers official. I just joined in with friends at the time. They was on a community server. I think it was called something Wolf something. The server was called. It was only a 10-slot server. We started playing on that, and then when I looked into it about getting a server, it was all down to obviously different running servers of the different costs. It was on Traris website. It was on my Xbox. So if you wanted a really good server, you could have a really good running server, but it was going to cost you a lot more. It was.
And that's what I try to understand on the official side, is like trying to have that many servers might be quite difficult monetarily for them all over the world.
Mate, one of the topics we're going to be talking about is just how much money some people make through DayZ. We had that in the discussion in the Discord about the buy DayZ kits thing. And
I had to spread that around. That was insane.
Some of the guys were saying, that they've known of how much money some of those sites make, and there's a lot of money to be made. Not just in DayZ, but in other games as well. There's been, some of these communities are raking in thousands of dollars a month, across all sorts of games. There's probably DayZ servers that easily do that as well. We've touched on this in the past, but.
Yeah, there's a lot of money to be made, and definitely, and that's out there. Everyone can see that, and they just since November of last year, they seem to be popping up a lot more now, though, like on Facebook and so on. There's obviously been the Facebook dupers pages there from a long time now, but there seems to be a lot more of selling pages now for kits. There does more than anything. But, I was touching on that, to be fair, in the Discord, and was having this discussion about this whole duping situation, and obviously I put my comment in the Discord, and people had their comment back and that, and I appreciate everyone else's comments coming in back. And it is done by splitting your accounts over 2 servers, and if you wasn't able to take your server from server to official server, that would actually technically, for now, stop the duping, because that's how it's done. It's done by splitting your same account over 2 consoles, over 2 different servers, and then what you're doing is dropping one account on one server, you're waiting until your save data's tucked to your second console, and then that's it. Your guy's still got his gear on it, and the gear you've dropped in the other server is somewhere else for you to pick up. Whereas if they was to take it away for now, because you can't take a third person, your gear from third person to first person on console, official you can't, and vice versa. So my argument was, I get obviously it's come to the point of where you can take your gear to server, but I think it would actually control the duping for now. It would. But then, like, obviously everyone comments said they'd only find another way, but as far as I'm aware, that is the only current way. It's been like that now since 10 updates. It is on console.
I am not up to speed on any of that, but
No,
I guess it makes sense.
the most I've ever done was the Apple glitch back in the day. And I think I knew of a couple of locations, never used them. Did try one once just to see what it was all about. And it was hiding inside a monument or something in one of the cities up in the northern area of the map. But I don't want to know about that sort of stuff. It's not.
No.
It's shitty. It's the same as buying hacks to me.
Yeah.
And
I
buying
ended up
DayZ kits.
accidentally meatballing one time, but that was really
that was a funny glitch.
I had to actually go looking into it because I got banned from the Sunnyvale servers and that's why I stopped playing the community. I tried playing their servers for a short while with some friends when I started, like you had said, and I got into this house and I think I looked up too fast for a chopper or something, or I looked up for some reason, and then some dude's like, I got you on video cheating, and I was like, I don't even know what I did. And when I talked to the mods, he had to explain to me what it was, and I had to look up how I could have even accomplished it. But
was it only a temporary ban?
Well, I think it was going to be like a week or something. And then when I asked to speak to them about it, because I said somebody had complained about something, but I didn't play in third person to see. I had no idea that I was even doing it. That's why I was confused with the whole situation. But
just quickly, for those who don't know, the meatball dupe basically turned your character into this little ball of a person with a backpack on, and that it was just
hard to hit or something.
Yeah, it was a really funny looking thing, but yeah, it did create issues with hit registers and stuff like that. It was one of the more friendly but still kind of bad unintended game features that DayZ's had over the years.
Thankfully, I haven't run into too many other big issues than that one.
I think we had on console. I think it made your character like half the size than he was, and then there was the one where it was like you was inside yourself, running around with your backpack on show. Is what we used to have. When I think you could do it with a torch. I think it was that's how you used to get into the meatball. Something to do with the torch when you swapped something. But it was a long time ago since we've seen anything like that on console.
Yeah, thankfully they've improved somewhat.
Now, I've said in chat there, MrWhite, if they would just enable the multi-account setting, wouldn't that resolve the dupe issues? What does he mean by that, mate? Because I haven't played console in ages. What's the multi-account setting?
The only thing I can think of on that multiple account setting is we've had implemented timers now from switching accounts. If that's something, because I did see someone comment saying that console players are able to do from switching multiple accounts, but it's something I've never come across personally. It's not. If that's what he's intending in that comment there.
Well, we talked about the amount of accounts you can have on a console quite some time back, and the comments on that video, DayZ's multi-account issue, and I think I used the thumbnail of MrWhite from the Matrix. That it's a big issue, but there are a lot of people who were just, I don't care, I'm going to keep doing it. I don't have time, and it's like I kind of see their point in that, the DayZ is a very time-intensive game, and unless you're a single person or a professional gamer, it's very hard to pump the hours into a game like this without it affecting your personal life. So I can understand why people want to take an easy option, but it just ruins the experience for those who are trying to do it genuinely. But that people being people, a lot of them just don't care.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I've played the game where I've had 32 accounts, but I played the game for I think it was 6 to 7 months without even knowing what an alt account was. They wanted to. I ran into someone. I think when someone was raiding a base when we was based on DayZ Chinoris, that they just kept loading in multiple different characters, and then we ended up speaking to him, and he was like, "Well, yeah, because it's on your Xbox, you can have your main setting as your home, you own the game, and then you can have an alternative account, and then from then it made the game like, because it's sometimes you'd load into your base and everything's gone, for instance, everything, and I mean it's either been despawned or it's been taken, and to have an account sometimes off there with just even holding ammo, being able to drop a little bit of ammo for a guy so I can go on a little bit further. And that's how I played the game for long enough now. But now, since they've implemented the timers now, and it's a case of your first swap will be a 5-minute timer, your seconds are 15, after that it's 30, and I think after the 30 it's an hour. So
really, I didn't know that they implemented that. That's the first
Yeah.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, that's
pretty
been
reasonable.
implemented on console average. Yeah, so I think it even goes as far as community servers, because I think it's a case of it gets implemented to the servers unless you don't want it implemented into your server, you have to take it out. I think that's right. But it's a case of, so yeah, whereas before you could load into multiple accounts, you wouldn't have a timer and that would be it. But right now, as I say, for instance, I wanted to swap an account, the first account swap would be a 5-minute timer. If I wanted to go back to the account I was originally just playing, then it'd be a 15-minute timer. Same if I wanted to go back to the account I was just on, it'd be a 30-minute timer. Then after that, it's an hour.
That's actually pretty cool. I don't know how I missed that update, because that's something I definitely would have talked about. I'm imagining Greedy Peasants probably covered it, and Cinnamon and them. But yeah, that sounds quite reasonable. But Offset's saying in chat there that a lot of community servers don't want to activate it because they like having the alts. Has that been your experience, Mr. White?
I don't know, because like I quite like playing the game how it's meant to be played. Me personally, I'm quite happy to run around and then die, and then I'll just use that same account, and then I'll just carry on from there. It's only really if I've got a base down, really. Do you know what I mean? Because when, say, for instance, if your whole team dies, it's nice to have just that backup account to try and keep hold of everything you've spent weeks and weeks and weeks holding on to.
You're kind of damned if you don't join in as well on a lot of those servers, aren't you? Because you know that they're going to probably have moved their 30 bloody accounts up there to raid your base, and they're just going to keep them coming. And if you try to fight fair, you're screwed.
Well, yeah, if you wanted to fight fair and it was one account, do you know what I mean? You could quite happily run, depending on where your base is, you could run each night 3-4 accounts. Because like I was playing the game when they first implemented the timers, a case of, right, I've got a timer now, 30 minutes. I've got 30 minutes to get something done in the ass. So, and then I come back to my Xbox. So, and that's how I was playing it for a bit. But it's a case of now I don't really want to play it like that, because quite like how the game should be played. That's like when I'm going on about, obviously, the issues of what the game has got on at the minute. I just like when I've sent various emails and that to obviously report things, it's just nice to know if they're aware of it, is what we're looking for in the community from the console more than anything.
Darkwing saying in chat there, MetalHed, that alts were a big reason he got a PC.
Oh, wow. Yeah. No, as much as I found your video you posted funny, it was another thing that kind of hurt me a little bit inside, thinking that, like, well, if you could just purchase that, then it would ruin the fun for anybody like us who we try to put in the time. And when we come across any sort of large base, we kind of wonder, it's like, what, did they do it legitimately, or is it just a lost cause anymore?
Well, the point that Darkwing's just put in chat there, it sucks fighting the same guy 5 times. A lot of people might just think, well, it's still just another player. But this goes back to, on my Boydie73 channel, I put out a video many years ago, and I've left it up because I'm not ashamed of it. I learnt from the experience, but I did a video called Why You Need a Second Account as a Lone Wolf. And I advocated for basically having, buying a second DayZ game and having a second account so that when you died, you could jump straight back into the battle and get into it. And I got schooled. I got abused. I got told, basically the usual stuff. I hope you die of cancer and all the rest of it. And as people, all the typical online abuse. And I was like, wow, okay, what? And it was probably a bit like with you, Mr. White, where you weren't quite aware of the implications of something. And I ended up making a response to it and saying, I'm sorry, I'd never thought about it like that. Because what a lot of people either don't care about, they just want to win at any cost, or they don't think about. But a lot of people might be doing it for a genuinely good reason. Well, they're doing it, why shouldn't I? I get that. But at the same time, if you don't take a stand, You're just endorsing it because
Exactly.
you're going every time you come back, you're gaining more knowledge, and it's basically meta. When you come back in, you already know where they were. You know where your body was, so you know that they're most likely going to be looting them. So that gives you a massive advantage there straight away. Secondly, when it comes to just the game awareness, they won't have any idea that there's another player. They haven't heard a shot. They haven't been able to gain any intel that might lead them to think that there's another player there. So by just logging straight in, what I used to do back in the day was run all my accounts up to the Northwest Airfield because that's where usually most of the action was. And I'd die and I would switch accounts, log back into the other one and continue fighting. And I thought that was not an issue until I had it explained to me. Nah, man, you're going back in there. They've got no way they could have ever known you were in the area. Not that they might have seen me if it was just a legitimate other character, but it's wrong in my eyes. So,
Yeah, I guess my point was that anything that kind of goes against the idea of the game, like I know the game's very good for letting you do things that may not be acceptable, but like be reasonable. Like you as a one person shouldn't be four people, like you were saying.
Yeah.
And I don't think you should be able to buy things from an outside source so much as the game is intending you. If it wants you to have a trader, you'll have a trader. If not, it's looting.
It's kind of a Rust mentality. I've been watching a bit of Rust videos lately. A guy called William and that, and you know they drop their sacks, they make a raid base, and they have their sleeping bags or their beds or whatever, and they just keep it spawning back in, and a wave of attacks, and the defender is doing the same. So, you know, that's a legitimate mechanic in that game, but it's not something that was ever intended to be a part of DayZ. You know, DayZ is meant to be brutal. DayZ is meant to be, you know, that permadeath was always one of the core functions of what made DayZ quite unique in its time. You die, you lose everything unless you've got a base or a stash that you can run back to. And you've literally got to run back. You can't parachute in like other games and land in the same place. You can't spawn back on your bed or in your base like some other games. You're back on the coast. And yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, like from when it comes to like the bases now, it's a case of say we're raiding a base and we've entered the base and we've killed 3 or 4 people in there now. It's a case of now we'll have to wait 5 minutes because we do know that in them 5 minutes, someone else is going to load in 5 minutes, whether it be one of them who we've just killed on their account. And that's how fights are on console now when it comes to bases because people still are using alt accounts. So I still use alt accounts because that's how the community still is out there and official is that people will run multiple accounts to your base, even if they have got timers. It could be done over a week period. It could, and then it's a continuous thing. It's every night that someone's knocking on your door and blowing holes in your base. But like you said on Rust, it's a bit different with Rust because obviously on Rust you can spawn in, but it's when a hole's been blown in the side of your base, it's a lot easier to patch up on Rust. It is. So then it's, do you know what I mean? Say for instance, they've raided you, they've blown you wall in, you've gone up and you've whacked a wall down. That's it. The breach is gone now. Whereas on DayZ, you can't have that same experience because you might have no nails, you might have no planks, you might have to go out and cut them trees down and so on and so forth. So it's different gameplay. It's a slower pace DayZ is compared to what Rust is.
Yeah, much slower pace.
Yeah.
And you know, it doesn't matter if you want to change it. You know, I've always said this as well. Like Helkiana said there, she actually wants to turn off deaf on my PVE server. The beautiful thing with DayZ is that it is a blank canvas that you can do whatever you want with. And if people like what you've done, they'll come and play your server. So if you want to do that, go for it. But yeah, when you've got people doing this on the official, which is not the way that the official is intended, and when you've got community servers where it's also not intended, yeah, it becomes a bit of an issue.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a lot of people also say when you die, it'd be nice to come back as a zombie for 10 minutes.
Yeah, I've seen that. And even the Project Zomboid fashion, where the dead player basically just becomes an infected and roams around with all that gear on it. behaving like an
we
infected.
said the same. It'd be awesome, that idea. It would be as to the fact that you could actually end up running back up there and probably see your character walking around with his VSD or Tundra on his shoulder and what he's wearing.
Surely someone's made a mod with that, Helkiana. Is there a mod like that out there? Because that would be quite cool to find. Maybe it's dropped the gun that it had in his hands, and if there is a gun on its shoulder, it stays there. But imagine being a freshie and coming across this geared infected and just like, all I got to do is punch this one out and I've got all its gear. Oh.
That would be an insane mechanic.
Yeah. I just like the die run back to body gameplay loop for PvE or role playing. I feel having medics coming to revive you would be more engaging.
Yes.
Yeah, I even back in the day when they had the defib kit, I always, and I've said this before and I'll say it again, I've always felt like, except for maybe certain, a headshot kill or something like that, that there should be a small window of opportunity for a person to be revived. I know we don't have advanced medical care in an apocalypse and all the rest of that sort of stuff, but I just think it might make an interesting gameplay mechanic. The old defib kit, a shot of adrenaline, and there's a chance, it's not always, there's a chance that within, 2 to 3 minutes, if you could take out the other guy and then run to your teammate, you may be able to revive them. That would add a little bit more pressure to a PvP situation, in my opinion.
Yeah, I like that idea a lot. And I guess touching on that point, is there anything you think, would that be something they would want to bring back for the mention in the roadmap due to, I don't remember how they worded it, but it says it was like different sustenance,
more engaging,
and medical. So they hinted at like a food and medical update or expansion of some sort.
I've got no clue. Yeah. No clue, mate, what they're saying with that. I imagine there may be some people who do have an idea, but me personally, I've been told nothing. I'm not even going to ask anything. I don't like putting, my friends who are in the dev team in that sort of a position. I think that's a fairly scummy thing to do. So, plus, I also just kind of like being surprised.
I like
they're pretty
the surprise
good at,
of it.
Yeah,
but I want to know. Like I haven't played it forever in a defib kit. That didn't even occur to me till you had just said it. But like, I would really appreciate if they filled out that difficulty by medical situations, and I don't know how you'd increase the complexity of the food other than just having more options.
There we go. Tank Dazzer in chat just said that there is a mod where dead players turn into affected, and it's called Keep It Dead. So check it out, folks. Have a look at it. That might be one for if you're looking for something a bit different. I can honestly say I haven't seen a single server with that on it, or I haven't played a single server with it. But yeah, what's Helkiana saying there? Helkiana's been absolutely smashing out the mods of late. I've been noticing as well, but I've been working on a medical mod where you don't die, you stay in a comatose kind of state. You're allowed to broadcast a message through the radio to get help. You can give up and respawn in. I would
support that.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I think it was on console, to be fair, when it first came in the defib. I think if you was to do it to a player when there was alive, it'd knock them out. It would.
Oh, okay. She's added to it there. YouTube limited comments. So you respawn in a hospital nearby, but I've had issues with DayZ how it treats dead players. That's actually, keep us updated on that one, Helkiana. That sounds quite interesting. That would be pretty cool. I'm guessing you wake up naked, pretty much, with a set of hospital go around garbs or whatever they are, robes and garments on. So that could be
if you
pretty
could
cool.
wake up with the garbs in the hospital and then have to basically make your way back out, or if your gear was in a crate somewhere.
Or
like
infected.
Like if they stripped you, potentially infected, or if the medical staff stripped you and just threw it in a chest somewhere, like you coming back too. I don't know how that would all work out and what DayZ would limit you to, but
that's intriguing. I'm really, really intrigued with that. Okay, quick shield segment, folks. As always, we are partnered with Humble Bundle. Check them out. I had a look. nothing really caught my mind this week in the way of a package that stood out. But in about 20 minutes from now, we'll also be drawing the winners of the February games that I've got to give away as well, which is, let me have a quick look at it. Life is Strange, True Colors, a game called Scorn, Destroy All Humans 2 Report, Reprobed, Beacon Pines, There Is No Light, Enhanced Edition, Children of Silent Town, Oaken, and Snowtopia Ski Resort Builder. So we'll be giving those away in the Discord in about 20 minutes as well. The bot will handle that. But yeah, I like that, Helkiana. Your afflictions that killed you, like wound infection, won't go completely away, but just be in a lower stage. So it gives you a bit of time to rebuild back from it. So yeah, that's actually pretty damn good. And there's the link for anyone watching on Twitch as well. Okay, next topic we have to talk about is this one has actually I've got more to say on this as well. But the Vigrid Community's Battle Royale mod. Now, I know you wouldn't have had a chance to play it, MrWhite, but have you watched any of it?
I've not, mate, to be fair. No, I've not. I can't comment on it.
What about you, MetalHed? Have you played it or watched any of it?
I've seen, I think it was the Fresh Spawns that did a stint on it or whatever. I saw a couple minutes of that, and then my buddy who follows them jumped on a server, and he said he didn't get very far. He said he hopped in a car and smoked a fucking fence. I apologize. But it sounds like an interesting idea. I just don't know the implementation that's done so far.
From what I understand, because I've only just started working with them, which is, I said I've got more to announce. And here we go. Ta-da!
There you go. Oh, wow.
We are, with our server that we have in Australia, we are providing 2 servers for the Australian New Zealand community, thanks to the generous support that the community gets. And, it's just my own little, every man has to have a hobby. Every person has to have a hobby. It's not just a male thing, but it's, we've got nothing on there at the moment. So I reached out to him and said, look, would you guys be open to letting us put a Battle Royale server in Australia? And they said yes. And I was like, fuck yeah. So we've got 2 servers, a solo and a trio. I don't know about the trio yet. I'm going to wait and watch the numbers and see how that goes. But I'm wondering whether it'd just be better as 2 solos here so we can have them offset and a match every 20 minutes or so. But I got to do a little trial of it on the weekend, and man, it was so much fun. It was so much fun. I had a blast playing it.
The biggest question I kind of had after seeing the Fresh Spawns bit was, is there some sort of more or improved armor or more health? Because it seemed like there were a few times where they landed more than one 308 shot, and it didn't kill them as fast as I would have expected.
Now, I haven't seen it, but I did see a comment in their Discord that there's some sort of legendary armor that you can get. And someone said they found 4 sets of it all close together, which obviously isn't the greatest, but if it's purely random, which is how it appeared to me, I'm still learning a lot. Like, I only literally found out about it in the last couple of days and said, I need to make sure that we get this in the Australia New Zealand region, because all you buggers who are in the UK and the US and the EU get all the cool stuff. And we always get forgotten down here. But it was absolutely amazing to watch and then to play it. We only had 3 people in the first match, 3 people in the second match, and 4 people in the third match, which I won, which is a miracle. But even with so few people, it was still so much fun. The spawns were completely random. One person ended up in the middle. I'm certain they've got a feedback channel in their Discord, in the Vigrid Discord, which I'll share a link to in a sec. But I just had a blast. If you've only got a half an hour, 40 minutes, DayZ is a grind game. So, if you've only got 30, 40 minutes, you can't always do a lot. But if you just feel like having a bit of a run, bit of PvP, yeah, you could jump in a deathmatch server. But if you like that competitive stuff, and anyone who's a fan of this show knows how much I love Survivor games, the original Survivor games, not the Abomination. But it was just so much fun. Absolutely so much fun. The tactics and and to have them let us provide servers is such a blessing. I'm very, very happy to be able to do that for all of the Aussies and the Kiwis out there. But definitely go check it out. It's a lot of fun. When you said you crashed a vehicle, was it issues with the server or just you being I know I crashed 3 cars in my first match.
Oh, no, my buddy. I don't know exactly. I think he got in the car at the point at which the ring was shrinking and was frantically attempting to make it through a field and then didn't see the obstacle.
He ran into something.
Yeah, I think it was partially location, so that could be excusable. I do appreciate what people are doing to try to shorten I guess you could say, the gameplay loop, because like you said, not everybody's got that time.
Exactly. I just had a lot of fun. And I know that they've said that the Freshborns video caught them off guard and has really made them have to pump things up a lot quicker. But that's the nature of this sort of stuff. If you get the attention of the right channel and the product you've got is good enough for them to showcase, it can really blow up your server, your mod, or your idea. So I'm very, very excited to see where this goes, because I've been wanting this as much as I'm a survivalist, cock and ball torture, hardcore fan. I still love, as bad as I am at it, I still absolutely love PvP in this sort of survivor game style mode, which is essentially what Battle Royale is. It's just great to see it go on again. I hope that they can find something like this for you on console, Mr. White. If there is anything like it, let us know. We'll showcase it here on the show as well, folks. So yeah, it's a lot of fun.
I know Conquest is quite big on console. That's quite a big. That's something that in some cases it's 50. Well,
Scotty's a huge fan of that, isn't he? Scotty, the marketing for DayZ, I think he's a huge fan of Conquest.
Yeah, I've got a couple of friends that I play with, and they play on Conquest, and they say it's a lot of fun. It's like it's just different than official sometimes when they just can't get their head in official.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Did any of you guys watch Wobo's video on trees that just came out in the last day or so?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
It was interesting, wasn't it, Mr. White?
It was interesting, but at the same time, though, from saying where it was to where it is now, I've had situations where I've had to put a full 60-round mag for a bush to try and kill someone because they're laid down under the bush.
The bit that got me though, and again, we're blessed to have Helkiana in chat, so maybe she can provide some clarification if she knows about this. I keep on saying, we're blessed to have. So I know she doesn't know everything, but she knows a hell of a lot fucking more than any of us guys do. But when he said about when you're wearing armor and you're in a bush, your armor takes on the properties.
Your armor rating.
Yeah. That was weird to me, MetalHed. I'd never heard of that before.
I don't know how DayZ works, but I wonder if maybe when it tries to factor in all the variables, it's either skipping over the plate carrier. I don't know how it would do that. I can understand, like, from a logic process of how somehow it's trying to account for everything and missing it, but I don't know, and I haven't played around with it to figure it out myself.
How it can change the property of something your character's wearing by hiding in a bush was just. Am I misremembering what that was about, Mr. White? Is that how you interpreted it as well?
Oh, I took it on the understanding that it was going to be something that was going to take away the fact that your bullets should be able to go through the bush, because we've had it in some cases where we've been in gunfights and the trees took your whole entire ammo.
Oh
has
yeah, no,
increases.
it can definitely tank it, but in this case, it seems like it's not doing a good job of factoring in all the variables. But because I can't imagine that the tree is literally changing the plate carrier value to 0 somehow. I think that when it's trying to figure in the multiple variables, it must be missing something. But I don't, like I said, this is a Helkiana or a developer question, I'm sure.
So you're kind of like trying to say it's not picking up the value of your plate carrier inside of the tree, so it's going through the actual
like
side
it's
of
trying
the
to
tree.
prioritize the tree over the plate carrier, but once it does the tree calculation, it doesn't know to factor in the plate carrier on top of it or something. But because I can't imagine the way Wobo implied it, and I usually would side with Wobo 99 or 100 times out of 100. He implied that it negated the value, and I don't know if it's like if you stood in a tree, does your armor rating to like appear as 0, or do you still have the armor rating and then when you're shot it just doesn't impact the calculation?
It was. I'll play a little bit of it now. Like I understand the bit that I'm going to show with grenades.
That was a little crazy to see how it wouldn't do through the core of the bush, but I guess that's the unintended feature.
Now, I do need to clarify that bullets deflecting off of leaves is a known thing, IRL. It might be an urban legend. I may be wrong, but I heard
as a deer
many
hunter
rumor.
growing up, my dad swore at us if we would shoot through a branch. He said, you wait till you got a clean shot because you don't know if you're hitting the little stick that'll only bump it a degree or if it'll go through that leaf. So
and it was leaves that I heard were quite funny as well, because if it's at the right angle, even with the 5.56 round 223, it can deflect it. Just it's one of those weird quirks of physics and ballistics and all that sort of stuff, but that is something that is a known thing. So
I've definitely seen it on console. I can remember it now. I was at VMC and we was getting sniped from somewhere and it was night time, and then I found him. He was a ghillie in a bush, so I managed to sneak up to him and I had an AUG and I emptied the full mag into him, and not one of them the bullets hit him. I ended up having to get my knife out and I started slicing him up in the bush instead because my bullets wasn't doing anything. So
see, Zyson's saying it's that the bullet speed is dropped to the point where it can't penetrate the armor, but that's not how I remember him saying it in the video, Zyson.
That would make sense, but I think the video is implying you received more damage when you were actively standing in the bush as opposed to standing behind the bush.
Which is what we're going to play now. I think this bit of it.
Yeah, I think it's the next scene you're getting at. It might be just me, but I don't hear any audio from that video. I don't know about chat or anybody else.
There's no audio from me.
Okay. That's what I missed. So it's not when it's on you as a player. It's when it's when you're holding it in your hand. Okay, that's what I missed the first time around. So I'm glad I did play that again. So yeah, You could see that with the character there, and they were holding it in their hand. So that's why it takes on the properties of what it's around, as opposed to if you're wearing it and you're in the bush. Okay, not as bad as I thought, but still good to know. Wobo once again providing amazing information to help some of us who aren't as full on as that. Yeah, I don't know what was happening with the audio then. Lost Deep said he had no sound as well. But yeah, could you hear it, Mr. White?
No, I had no sound for the video you was playing now.
That is weird. Something else I like to add as feedback. But yeah, so no, just another great video from Wobo. We're blessed to have him. But yeah, also another quick shield segment, folks. Lid Hosting, as always, we are partnered with them as well. So if you are looking for a server in the EU region, check them out. They've got a great system, and they offer a free trial as well. So you can go in, give it a shot, see if it's going to be better for you, and switch over to them. And if you use the link in the description, you'll be supporting us as well. Also, I need ideas for what to do with a server in the EU region. As part of our agreement, Drower has given us a server in the EU. So, yeah, if you guys have any ideas on what we could do for something for the community, let us know. Whether we make it just a community server that people can host stuff on, or whether we make it an actual, 87.8 community server with a certain style, or just pure vanilla, hit us up with ideas in the podcast Discord, and we will take them all into consideration. But yeah, Lid Hosting, folks, there's the links once again. Please check them out. You'll be helping support us. Okay, let's get back here.
If your name had to be associated with it, I'd say you suggest hardcore. But if it's open for debate, then I say the community needs to decide.
It's honestly, it's not my name really. It's 87.8, and that's why I'd like it to be a community decision. So yeah. Now we don't have a Cobra this week to do a creator showcase, but I did have something I saw in the podcast Discord, and I was quite blown away with how well this was done. So what we're on to now, folks, is our individual spotlights. And I wanted to shout out a server that did quite a good trailer. I saw Mark's, was it on in the Discord? It was on Twitter. Mark shared a Twitter post basically saying that this is the best DayZ trailer he has ever seen. Let me just find it again. Bada boom, bada bing. There we go. Hopefully. Let me see if it works again this time with audio for you all. Can you hear the audio?
I think so.
Sad.
Yeah, I think.
Nothing.
No audio. I did watch this though.
Smart. I haven't seen this myself. I'll have to look it up.
I'm not going to play all of it.
This is pretty impressively done.
Good old Aussie internet. and then it switches to the next survivor. And that continues on throughout the course of the video. I just thought it was a beautifully done one with some amazing editing. I have to give him a shout out. That was just really, really good. I'll share the link in chat, folks, if you want to watch the rest of it. But yeah, it's a beautifully made video, and this is the sort of stuff that we advocate for a lot here. That if you're going to do up a server, if you don't promote it, no one's going to know about it. So take your time and put a good effort into it, and hopefully we can get them a lot more videos. And yeah, what do you think of it?
I was really impressed with the quality of that, even with short bit of that video we watched. And a note to the marketing, like, yeah, as somebody who's never heard of it and just seen that short clip, that's one that has piqued my interest, I suppose. Mr.
5
White.
minutes, I thought was maybe a bit long, Mr. MetalHed. Sorry, Mr. White. But it was still engaging. It was still a well-told little story. And firefights and funny feelings. I think that sums up a lot of DayZ or DayZ for a lot of people, doesn't it, Mr. White?
From when I watched that video, that it just when you've seen various things in the video, it just reminds you of things when you've come across things like that on your own on DayZ. When you're on the coast and you come across a freshie cutting up another freshie to try and survive because you don't know how to play the game or so on and so forth. When you go up, it's a really good put together video, and it shows you because it's like it is where it is. DayZ, you make your own story, and when you watch that video, you can see there's so many different stories from that 5-minute video.
Mm-hmm. No, that's awesome. What about you, MetalHed? What's something that you would like to shout out, mate?
I can't really think of much. I just if
What
it was
server
open,
you been playing mostly lately?
Oh, one of the official ones, and I don't even know if I want to say the number because I enjoy the low pop servers themselves. But if I don't know, somewhere between please DayZ, either figure out your connection issues or otherwise, I don't know. I really don't know. I don't watch too much content. I just kind of hide and play official as much.
Yep.
I watch Wobo's videos, so I guess shout out to Wobo for doing another wonderful job and always keeping the community up to date on something that's very difficult to find out on your own potentially.
Now, before I go to you, Mr. White, I'm going to give one more shout out. I've been playing, don't know if you've ever heard of this server, get your bingo card ready, DayZ Down Under, a little known, kind of small Australian server, just kidding. They added a mod that I don't pay attention to the mod list. I just install whatever's on there and do it. And myself and Camo and Cornick, we've been playing together, two other Aussie guys I play with. And we finally got a Humvee going. And it took us a while because we had to use motor oil. And I was like, oh, okay, that's pretty cool. You got to put motor oil in it or you'll destroy the engine. Okay. We had one vehicle stashed and someone found it and stole that one on us, even though we didn't technically own it. Then we found a vehicle that someone else had stashed, so we stole that. And then we're driving along, and the next thing I hear this metal clunk sound, and the vehicle's like I'd hit something. And I stopped and I'm like, what the fuck just happened? And he gets out and he goes, bloody wheels dropped off. He's got Rag Tyson's immersive vehicles mod on there. And that if you don't lock the vehicle parts in, they fall off. It's a laugh. And he's added a trader to it, where you can only sell very limited things you use to buy like an underground bunker kit and stuff like that. But to get a vehicle going, it's actually a fair amount of work now. And I absolutely love the immersive vehicles. This whole, apparently you need a jack to be able to get the wheel off, which is realistic. But yeah, driving along, like I had another car and I was trying to take it to the trader to sell. It took me nearly 2 hours to do it. Now I know some people are going to be going, oh, fuck that. But for me, that was just so much fun. It was like I was stopping at every town, as well as 10 times between town to put the wheel back on, because it lets you put a wheel back on loosely, but you can't lock it in. And it's random. I had like one wheel come off. I had two wheels come off. At one stage, I had three wheels come off because the other one was locked on. And sometimes the wheels keep rolling, so you got to run off down the road after your wheel and bring it back to the car. So luckily, I was doing that in the wee hours of the morning when not many people are on. But man, it is a good mod if you want a bit of realism for DayZ.
As a mechanic, I've actually seen that one and wanted to try playing it because the cars are fun, but they're a little too simple in the base game. So it's good to hear that that one is as good as it appeared.
It's better. It's like, it's not insane. Like realistically, if you didn't have the bolts locked in,
I couldn't explain to you how difficult it would be to do in real life, but it seems like a good compromise.
Yeah, it's it's a lot of fun. And even, you lock the other car parts on, or they'll fall off, and start the engine. It's not always guaranteed to start every time, because they're cars that have been sitting around for 2 years, so they're going to be a bit rusty. And there's so many little factors that I'm still trying to work out. Like, does the condition of the spark plug affect the chance of it starting? I'm guessing it does. I've got a pristine spark plug back at base that I'm going to check out and experiment with it, but I'm finding it a lot of fun. So a big shout out to Rag Tyson, for creating something a bit different that adds a bit of realism, and I'm really, really happy with how it's going. MrWhite, what about you, mate? What's something you would love to shout out?
We was on about it the other day, actually. One was on concept. We'd like to see a concept of a key being added into the game for a car. So you'd find a Sarka key, Gunter key, Olga key, because yourself, it's no to find a car what's been stashed and chuck a spark plug in it, but it'd be a bit more better if you had to find a key as well to start that car. That's what we was on about the other day.
And it spawns nearby. Like if it's a town spawn, it's going to be in one of the houses around the town, maybe. If it spawns at a property, well, it's going to be in that property somewhere, or maybe on an infected at that property. But I'm all for that, and actually allow lock picks to actually unlock stuff, not just lock a door and then unlock that door. It'd be kind of cool.
On console, we can use them for disarming landmines on console. The lockpick's useful.
Unofficial, I think that is the
screwdrivers
lockpick. Well, you can do it with screwdrivers, but I want to say Wobo had claimed that the best odds of success were done with a lockpick. So when
I did not know that.
You'd have to double check it.
Lockpick, you're doing pretty well, because you can disarm quite a few landmines with a pristine lockpick. You can.
Yeah, you can get yourself out of a couple sticky situations.
I got actually done by a landmine just the other day. Someone placed one up at the Tizzy. I still landmines are better, but they're still such a crappy mechanic, because all people do is find them and just place them, and they're done in seconds. There's no skill needed in it at all. But this one was a bit different. They actually put it in a, when you're at the at Tizzy and you do those barracks, and then you head up to the concert hut and the couple of garages and the headquarters near the rifle range. How there's those walls, and nearly everyone runs through that little gap between two of the walls to get to the concert hut when you come from the containers. Mm-hmm. They put it in that gap. They put it in a tunnel, and I fell for it, and it scared the living bejesus out of me. That said, weirdly, I got no cuts. So I still think there's some room for, as much as I don't like the mechanic of them, they're an item in the game. They're never going to go. Helkiana just said pliers have a 100% disarm rate.
Really?
Okay, might have to do some experimentation with that. Anyone who does videos, there's an idea. Spawn in 100 bloody landmines and sit there and screwdriver 80%, lockpick 90%. The more you know.
What's the shovel? Is that 0%?
It's about the same as the foot, I think.
I'll tell you what, that's had me before, though, on several apartments when we had a base there, and someone placed a landmine in the middle of the base, and it gives you the option with shovel to disarm, and you've gone up to it, and it's just thrown up, and you're dead.
Oh, wow.
And you think to yourself, wow.
Oh, that's funny.
I didn't know it gave you the option. The best one we ever had is we were driving down to the bunker in Livonia, and somebody placed it on the downhill slope of the road. So as we turned off the main road onto the gravel, we were driving down, and all of a sudden, just boom, and the screen goes black. And we were in the car, so we thought we were goners. But spark plug, wheel, And like you said, I don't think we got any cuts, but we were in the vehicle.
Yeah. Anything treated as tools is at 60%. So you see, my argument was that with the landmine, it should still be very, very deadly. But if you are at full health and you have enough rags, and they're not all in your pants, which are most likely going to get destroyed when a landmine goes off, and maybe a blood bag or a saline, you should have a better chance of surviving. Now, as annoying as they are, they do seem like to not. I did break my legs, but that was an easy fix. I usually always carry a morphine on me, along with 1,000 other different things, being the loot hoarder that I am. But it should still be a race against time to save yourself, or have your teammates save you if you're running with someone else. But yeah. Anyway,
your blood loss should be pretty great at that point, more than just 2 or 3 cuts.
Yeah. Guys, thank you so much for coming in and saving this week's episode for the community. Once again, apologies from Selby. He just had some tech issues getting it worked out and a bit stressed about it. So all the best, Selby. Much love, mate. We'll get you back on sometime in the future if you're interested. And ladies and gentlemen, we will see you all same time, same channel as always next week with our guest next week. It's going to be a bit of a wild episode, I get the feeling. It's going to be Battle Squatch, who made some accusations about Bitterroot stealing some of his ideas. So, we had Matty Ice on and we discussed it. It's only fair that we allow Battle Squatch to come on and explain his point of view as well. So don't be missing next week's episode, ladies and gentlemen. I think it's going to be a spicy one because I've made my views quite clear in it. I don't think there's any merit. But we'll talk more about that next week. What do you guys think that's going to be like?
I haven't the foggiest idea, but I always appreciate you giving both sides a platform to voice their side before people can make a judgment.
Yeah, same here. I'll be here to tune in for that. Have a discussion later on that.
It's fair. And just as a quick update as well, that's why I've had a few people ask me why episode 177 isn't up. That's kind of why. Some stuff was claimed in that episode that people didn't get a chance to. By the way, it'd be nice to have full episodes on Patreon. I'm just putting it on full episodes up on YouTube. I did do Patreon, Kiana, but I'm not doing it anymore. That said, I am going to be trying to ramp up ways to make money because I get the feeling I'm going to need a second server down under to keep on supporting Bitterroot. But, the links are already there. You can buy merch. You can become a YouTube member. But pretty much all episodes are up. I just need to catch up on Spotify. I am a bit slack on the Spotify. Plus, the other thing I just want to quickly ask, I have a really bad habit of cutting off guests. I probably cut you guys off at times. If I'm doing that, call me out in chat, call me out and shame me for it. It's something I've got to stop. I get so excited about the topics we're talking about that I just turn into a rude bastard. So call me out if I ever do it. And together, we can make me a better host.
But you did fine this time.
Yeah, it's fine. First time I've ever done anything like this before, so you can talk as much as you want, in my opinion.
It's pretty laid back, isn't it? There's I know a lot of people get a bit stressed about it, but it's basically just a Discord call done on a different platform, and we live stream and we just share our opinions. So,
it's no different than I stick my headset on when I go on. I talk to everyone in there perfectly fine. It feels no different now that I've been on here, so.
I think we need to do more community. I'm cutting you off. I think we need to do more community episodes. It's good. I like this. It doesn't always need to be big name people in the community. It's great to hear from the average Joes, which is essentially how I see myself as well. I'm just an average Joe person who loves DayZ, but I also, being 50, apparently that's all the shtick to have a podcast when you're going through a midlife crisis. So, yeah.
I've just turned 34, so I can't say I'm not your stage yet. So,
all the best, everyone, and we will see you all next week, guys. Hang around, don't run away straight away. I'll have a quick chat with you after the show. But yeah, all the best, everyone. Ciao for now.
Cheers.